Hi everybody, this is Arun from Namaste from Canada, and today in this video I'm going to talk to you about a very important change that is about to take place in the Canadian permanent residency application process. Some of you may have already heard about an internal memo that the IRCC has sent to the Immigration Minister for consideration, which, if adopted, will lead to drastic changes in the application process. While I will talk about the upcoming changes and the impact it would have on the people who are planning to apply for a PR or who are already in the applicant pool, I would also like to share my thoughts on what could you as a potential applicant do in this situation. So please keep watching this video till the very end. So there are three main impacts which can be derived from the memorandum, and they are the following. Firstly, there won't be any new intake from the FHS or the Federal High Skilled Pool till at least the middle of 2022. The Federal High Skilled Pool consists of the Federal Skilled Workers, the Federal High Skilled Trades, and the Canadian Experience class. As per the memo, the IRCC has recommended that, or they have basically asked for, to increase the pause in the Federal High Skilled Pool program till 2022, and because of this they actually think that there is already a very high amount or high number of people in the applicant pool which is sufficient to cover their targets till 2022. Said in other words, it's very highly likely that we will not be receiving any invitations to apply in 2022. The second major impact will be on the CRS cutoff scores. Now, the IRCC in its memo has actually proposed to reduce the FHS application pool by almost 50% to balance the number of people on the FHS entry with respect to the other programs like the temporary resident to permanent resident programs and the resettlement of Afghan refugees. So in order to do that, if they reduce the overall applicant pool by 50%, you can expect that the cutoff scores will really go up high, and the IRCC actually predicts that the cutoff score will go upwards of 500, which is a very high CRS score. To give you some context, back in 2017 when I applied for my PR, in 2017 I found that the lowest CRS cutoff score was almost 416 or 413. So now you can imagine how big the competition would be. The third major impact that was discovered in this memo was the processing time. So the IRCC in its memo predicts that they can no longer meet the existing service standard that they claim for 6 months to process a PR application. They actually predict that the PR processing time can increase up to 3 years, which is a pretty high increase. To give you some context, again in 2017 when I got my PR, and I did observe that many of my friends' PR, their applications were actually processed within 3 to 4 months, and so if it goes up to 3 years, that's almost a 4 to 5 times increase in the processing time. Definitely everybody needs to plan for it. Now let me show you the memo which has been sent from the IRCC to the Immigration Minister. This is the first page of that memo that has been circulated, right? In this, they're basically showing the intent of the memo, and they're basically saying that they want an extension of the pause on the Federal High Skilled Express Entry rounds from November 1st to at least January 31st, and the minister now has to take a call on this. They also provide the reason, which is basically the travel restrictions that were in place throughout most of 2020s, and that led to the pile-up of applications. And they're also projecting the future state and potential 2022 to 2024 multi-year level plans, and they basically say they have enough people in the applicant pool, which they are classifying as applicant inventory, to take care of their 2022 to 2024 multi-year level plans. In the memo, the department also talks about how they created the TR to PR program, which is the temporary resident to permanent resident pathway program, and in this program they invited large numbers of Canadian Experience class candidates in an effort to support 2021 admissions by increasing the number of Canadian residents who could apply for permanent residency. Then the memo goes on to describe the reasons why the FHS applicant inventory has increased significantly, and basically what they're saying is because of this, because of the travel restrictions, the FHS applicant inventory has increased significantly, and because of the popularity also, more and more people have now have started applying to the FHS program. So which is basically, to meet this, they're struggling to meet their 6-month service standard. Then as per the current status, they are now proposing to reduce the pool by 50%. That's what they say here. And basically they're saying that under the current options, the FHS admission target could be significantly reduced, with some preliminary scenarios seeing decreases by more than 50% of the 110.5k that was allocated in the previous plan. So basically they are trying to reduce the FHS applicant pool, and for multiple reasons, and they are also using this as a way to accommodate the TR to PR stream and the resettlement of Afghan nationals to Canada, while not exceeding the overall target of immigration. And here they're basically saying that no new ITA would be sent at least till middle of 2022. That's what they want to do, and they want the minister's approval for that. And then they go on to say that currently there is not possible to meet the 6-month application processing time anymore, and they actually foresee that it would go up to 3 years. In existing cases, they have said that FSW processing times are currently at 20.4 months, which is over 3 times their service standard. And then finally they go on to say that the CRS cutoff score will increase to 500, which is extremely high and is expected to remain high because of these multiple reasons. So now that the federal high skill program seems to be a difficult proposition, but let's discuss about some of the other options that people have to immigrate to Canada. Now these options may not always be the first preferred option, but they are definitely worth exploring. Firstly, let's talk about the study permit or coming to Canada as a student. This is by far the easiest way to get into Canada, and once you come to Canada as a student, actually Canada has a host of great universities where students can study, and they are world renowned. And once you graduate from one of these universities or colleges in Canada, you are expected to get anywhere up to 3 years of open work permit, which gives students enough time to plan their PR application process. It also makes students eligible to apply for the PR process through multiple streams. Also, if you come to Canada on a study permit and if you have a partner, your partner automatically qualifies to get an open work permit. That means while you are studying, your partner can work in Canada. And as a student, you are eligible to work up to 20 hours per week along with your studies, which means that you can do part-time work to meet your finances or financial needs while you are studying in Canada. The other option that people can explore would be to explore the provincial nomination programs. Different provinces in Canada have they run their own provincial nomination programs. The memorandum which has been sent by IRCC to the immigration minister does not talk about the provincial nomination programs, which actually makes me hopeful that nothing would be touched in the provincial nomination programs, and they're going to run as it is. So people can actually go and explore these programs. Some of the provincial nomination programs like the SINP or the Saskatchewan's provincial nomination program has pretty low cutoff scores, so you can probably explore those as well. Also, getting into a PNP program doesn't necessarily tie you to that province. While you must start your PR journey in Canada in that desired province or your target province, there is certainly the ability or the provision that you can move to other provinces later on by taking necessary approvals. Okay, so you do have to, yes, when you come to Canada, you do have to settle in that province. You have to make sure that you do your research about the job NOC codes and your current skill sets to make sure that you are a good fit for that particular province. But once you land in that province and you stay a few years, you can go to other provinces if you desire. So my job was to give you the facts here, what's going around, and basically tell you that yes, the applications pool and the applicants through the FHS programs will be impacted for sure, but that doesn't stop anybody from coming to Canada through other immigration programs. You just need to keep in mind that Canada needs immigration. Canada actually needs immigration to keep its economy growing, and it's an active policy of the government of Canada to to encourage immigration to Canada. And so what you need to do as a potential applicant is to explore the other options. I gave you two options. One of them is use the study permit program to see if you can come to Canada and how you can use that as a stepping stone to get into the PR programs. The other one is the provincial nomination programs. I talked about SINP, but there are several other provinces like the Atlantic provinces also have their own program. Quebec has its own program, which for them the requirements are a little different. Ontario has a well-established provincial nomination program. Alberta and British Columbia, they also have their own provincial programs as well. So one needs to keep an eye for these different programs. You can definitely do a Google search and find them. And they have their own criteria, so just keep that in mind when you're applying for a provincial nomination program. Just keep one thing in mind, that different provinces have different requirements for different types of jobs. So try to see where your skill sets and your education fits with the NOCs that these provincial programs encourage. So once you do that, definitely the path is not closed. I'm sure there are multiple opportunities would be present to people to come to Canada. So that's what I wanted to say. Please keep watching some similar content that I'll be posting. I'm going to post more on these topics in the future as well. So my aim is to help you guys with this content. So please subscribe and like the video if you liked it. Thank you very much.